So we're back. We're here at AnimeCon UK, and we're once again taping here live. Special episode, and it's an episode all about anime today.
Yes, this is day 2 of the convention, but it is week 2 of content from anime. In this episode, we're essentially going to be talking about anime and its influence on fan art and its influence on Artist Alley in general.
Yes.
Which I think it's very prevalent, I would say.
For sure. And as someone who's still relatively new to anime, something I'm still learning a lot about.
We will mostly be showing Jay's ignorance about anime. That's what this episode is about. Finger pointing like Nelson, going ha ha. No, we're going to be talking about different things: the art aspect, my artist journey, how anime influenced that, and lots of fun things. Go.
Let's go.
Alrighty. So I would say the key thing to get started is what anime influence Artist Alley nowadays, right? We see a lot of more mainstream Crunchyroll anime in Artist Alley. However, the actual influence of anime as an art concept comes from many great names and talents of years past. From myself, I started watching anime at a very, very young age. And my artist influence comes more from anime from the 70s and the 80s, where there was a lot more detail. It was a lot less computerized. Everything was hand-drawn, a lot less generic, maybe one would say. But obviously there is still merit in today's work.
Yeah, sure.
That said, it is very difficult for me to see anything in Artist Alley that is related to anime I grew up with, because that seems to have sometimes lost itself in time for a variety of reasons. Some topics did not age very well. Some art styles did not age very well, but the art influence itself, the actual drawing, is definitely very prevalent in many artists that you see around Artist Alley, even though that artist themselves might not know the origin of where that art style actually is from. Yeah, it's quite interesting.
And I think a good place to start with looking at this is your experience specifically with anime, because I do find that the way you grew up with anime is very different to a lot of people here.
Yeah, I would say in the UK, anime became a lot more mainstream when Cartoon Network started bringing Dragon Ball and Sailor Moon with Toonami, where I am from mainland Europe. And their anime was there since the 60s, basically, with very old titles like Lupin and Astro Boy and so on, when they were like freshly airing, you know? So when I was born, my mom already watched anime, and I am 40 years young, more or less. So the titles that I grew up around were, again, all hand-drawn. Creamy Mami, The Rose of Versailles. The style was very different, very intricate. The eyes had so many layers of detail. I think the only anime that I could probably name nowadays that has the same level of detail in the eyes alone is probably Oshinoko, because they have all the like 2 million layers of colors in the eyes. That was what it was before in most of them, and it was all hand-drawn. Yeah. So yeah, it was very different. I've watched anime and its audience in Europe evolve over time.
Yeah. Do you sort of recall like some of the first animes that actually you wanted to draw like art of?
I I would say the first anime that I took very, very seriously was the first original airing of Sailor Moon before the first Viz dub was even a thing. However, I watched anime before then, and my first sketches that I have from when I was a little boy, I probably was about 5 or 6.
Yeah.
And I drew Samurai Troopers. I don't know if you know what that is. Do you know Samurai Troopers? Or Ronin Warriors? They were more or less very much a Sailor Moon-esque type of genre. Fun fact, that was before a boys genre. Before Sailor Moon existed, that genre was exclusively to guys.
Okay.
And it was it was always a group of like 5 high school students, male, and they would transform into a group of 5 something to defend, right?
Okay.
So in Samurai Troopers, they would transform into samurai armor. La la. In Saint Seiya, they would transform in knights based on zodiac signs. But that genre is much older than Sailor Moon. Sailor Moon just made it a lot more prevalent and femme.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, a lot of anime growing up, there is inspiration there and
Yeah.
things you want to draw and stuff. Even though anime was more common where you grew up, was there still sort of a judgment of growing up in
100%.
terms, especially in the art world and learning art?
100%. So I come from Malta. Malta is mostly known for tourism, and that tourism comes with an aspect of our culture, our architecture, our history in art has centuries of history behind it. And fine arts was a very big thing in Maltese culture, a lot more than I see here in the UK, actually. And if you took any form of art course at all, and you tried to deviate from the landscape drawings and trying to learn history of art and the different colors and palettes and so on, that history had taught us rather than the more Japanese anime influence, you were very much chastised for it. I remember being in this class, and we used to be given, like, once every week, we'd have this lesson where you'd be given a topic and you can creatively draw whatever you wanted related to that topic. And one of them was tragedy. That's it. And everyone was drawing steps.
Oh,
Everyone was drawing some sort of dance, right?
Right.
And I drew an anime character. And it was a classical art style class, and I imagined that I am elevating it with anime, and these people are drawing some Macarena group, you know? Like, what is happening? And no, the teacher came up to me and ripped my artwork and said, this is just not acceptable. Your proportions are wrong. You should start over, and just ripped it. And I was like, interesting, and redrew anime.
Good.
Oh, that mostly speaks to my character. I'm a very stubborn person. But I wanted to convince them that anime had purpose and it had space. And they sat me down after the lesson and they said, 100% it does. It has a recreational space. But what I am trying to teach you is how to make money on this island using this medium. And that was not going to amount to anything. So I decided to play ball. During the lessons, I wouldn't draw anime. At home, I would only draw anime. And that teacher rewarded me with a charcoal drawing, an A3 charcoal drawing of Asuka from Evangelion that he drew at home in his spare time.
Nice.
And at the end of the year, he gave it to me as a gift. I still have it. And I wanted to just prove him wrong that I can live in Malta and make a living out of drawing anime, and here we are today. Only I'm not in Malta again. I had to leave.
True.
I'm like, bye. But yeah, it was very that. When I tried to sell my work in what is by Maltese standards a small convention, a lot of the people, their comments were like, it's a shame that you're exhibiting here with all these adults because I don't think children will be coming to this venue. So the mentality, even though they had seen a lot of it on TV, and it was very accepted as a media of entertainment, it was never taken seriously as an adult thing. And this echoed as well in my adulthood when I started doing t-shirts for big companies. Even when I was working with Hasbro, as soon as I would put any influence on working something like on My Little Pony with anything anime-esque, right away you'd be written up and be told by email that that work needs changing because it is very compartmentalized.
So throughout then, a lot of the anime art that you've drawn or continue to draw, there has been an aspect of it of, like you said, trying to prove a point in a way that, like, actually this is a valid art form, this is a valid style.
Yeah.
Does that mean you still enjoy it, or is it always associated to that feel of like making that point?
I think at this point now, I wouldn't say that what I draw is particularly super anime-esque. I think I have a lot of elements in my art style that are reminiscent of anime, especially art books, again, from the 70s and 80s, because it's what I grew up around. But I am at the stage where I formed my style enough that is unique to me, or at least I hope I did, or I'm trying to. No, I've never harbored any ill will towards the style itself, just people's misconception of it.
Yeah.
Right? I remember having a conversation in the last few years, actually, with a group of adults who are obsessed with Disney.
They're out there.
Massive Disney adults.
Yeah.
And their reasoning behind why they like Disney princesses specifically, but not anime characters, is because Disney's proportions are more loyal to people. I'm like, I don't know, like Ariel's wrist is pretty thin. I don't think she has any bones in her body. So it's funny to me that people could look at a Disney princess and could see an anime character and find such a difference. But I think it's just ingrained in people's minds that it's such a varied thing, right?
Yeah. So I guess, like you said, you've developed your own style, so you wouldn't necessarily say you're an anime artist, but it's given you tools and skills that sort of form your art style.
Yes.
If I guess, other people who are learning their own art style, you would say that actually anime potentially could be a good inspirational source for people?
I think so. I think every artist, regardless of what you're doing, art, drawing, cosplay, blah, 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 you always need to find a base that inspires you.
Yeah.
For me, it was anime.
Yeah.
However, the foundation of being a creative is that you take a starting point and then you build on it.
Yes.
Right? So, of course, there is a lot of good that comes from watching anime, drawing in that style. But as an artist, you need to always keep growing and always keep finding ways to mature yourself in your craft. So rather than sticking with one style of anime, I would say watch different artists that draw anime, different studios, different genres, and see how those different things that call to you from the different series that you're watching, how they can improve your work.
Yeah. As someone who myself has found anime is such a vast and varied subject, would you recommend any good starting points that people might want to look to for different art styles of inspiration?
I would say, if especially in your case, you're at con, right?
Yeah.
If you see an artwork of an anime that you vibe with,
Yeah.
look that up. Start from there.
Nice.
Getting yourself connected with the medium is always going to be the easiest way for you to enjoy something.
Yeah.
Right? If I were to give a recommendation of an anime that completely changed my art style and the way I perceived anime in general, it probably would be The Rose of Versailles. I would say in terms of anime, and in that era, anime was not made for young adults at all. In the 80s, anime was written with a much more adult mentality in mind. The stories were a lot more harsh, were a lot more adult in nature. There was a lot of anime that had subject matter about suicide. There was a lot of subject matter that are triggering in today's culture, but it was so matter of fact and normal back then, right? It's only now that anime is a lot more targeted to a younger audience. And I would encourage people to, obviously, with an open mind, because like I said, subject matter over time has changed. But in terms of art style, look at older generation of anime and see how they were drawn, hand painted, cell by cell.
Yeah.
Such a beautiful art form.
Yeah.
Stunning.
Definitely something I'm learning because, again, as we've mentioned numerous times in this podcast, I'm such a baby when it comes to anime. And I'm very grateful that I have someone like yourself to sort of show me these are the good ones to start with. These are the good entry points. You always the only animes I watch are ones you recommend because I very much trust your opinion.
Yes.
What are like let's just put a list out there. 5 must-watch ones that you really are like, these are ones I need to see.
Okay. So there's hundreds and thousands of titles that you can be watching, right?
Yeah.
However, to like fully form a varied repertoire of anime, I would probably start with one of the greatest titles, which is Full Metal Alchemist. Not because of anything other than those stories written really well, the soundtrack is really good. There's a beautiful dynamic of like what family is actually about, what siblings do for each other. It's just a very well-rounded story and plot. I would probably go with something like Madoka Magica, which is the frilliest anime you will ever see. And then you get jolted from your soul in episode 3, and it teaches you about proper good story writing.
Okay.
Expect the unexpected.
Yeah.
Right? In the same vein, but a little bit more dramatic and sad and mournful, Revolutionary Girl Utena.
Okay.
It is a military romance, but there's just something bittersweet about it. Again, my favorite anime are all about story, right? It's not the action, it's not the effects and so on. It's just story that's really moving and jarring. Mostly jarring. Rose of Versailles mentioned many times. That is my #1 anime of all time. It's iconic. It is drawn perfectly. It's chef's kiss. I cannot. And as for the anime that I watched when I was maybe in my late teens, and after I watched this anime, everything after it was really bad because it was so good and so well written, is Monster.
Yeah.
Monster is a story about, you've heard of it? Yeah, good, amazing. Monster is about a doctor that he has to choose between saving a politician, because that's what his hospital decides that he needs to do. That's the surgery that he needs to do, because that politician, his family have funded the hospital. You need to do this surgery.
My goodness.
But as he's going into this surgery, this child that was shot in the head walks in at the same time, and he's the only one working at that time. So he needs to make a choice: save the child or the older politician that the hospital is making him save. He chooses the child, and it is the worst thing he's ever done in his life. And that is what I'm going to leave you with. 52 episodes to explain why that's the worst thing he could have ever done.
That's just the premise.
That's just episode one. That's episode
crazy.
one. It's crazy. It's such a good show. Again, it's very dark, very gritty, written for an adult audience, and everything from the soundtrack to the psychology behind the characters, it's stunning.
Yeah. For people who will be watching this at home and in the comments being like, I can't believe Jay hasn't seen these already or seen this one already. We're getting around to it. There is a lot. We're getting through it.
Maybe. Just started. We started you off a little bit easy.
Yeah.
You know, with current titles.
Yes.
So when we're at con, he actually knows what is going on around us.
Yeah.
But you've seen some goodies, you know.
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
One thing I am familiar with, having done a few of these cons now, though, is actually how that is brought into the actual artist alleys,
100%.
the convention spaces.
100%.
And one thing I've noticed, because for those who listen to the podcast will know that I go around and I interview different people.
Yep.
And one thing I see a lot is very much an anime aesthetic, which is you see the bright tablecloths, very much the grids, these color-coded displays. Everything's sort of matching, a lot of pastels as well, I notice sometimes. What do you think?
We see you.
As a trader yourself and someone who's
Yes.
well-versed in anime, what do you think about that style of setup, and why is it so prevalent? Why is it so popular at conventions?
So, okay, I associate that with an anime aesthetic because the vibrant colors in art in general, the pastels, especially in recent anime, the moe style and so on, that has very much become a synonym of anime and the current art vibe in Artist Alley, right? However, what makes that a bigger thing and seems to be perpetuated literally internationally, everyone starts with doing Artist Alley. They go on Pinterest, they're like, how do I make an Artist Alley table for the first time? And as soon as you hit enter, all you're going to see is these grid walls and this and that, and everyone just follows the same mold. However, that is not a bad thing. Like I said in the beginning, you need to start somewhere and then grow from it, right? And I would say that aesthetic is generally the more appealing one for someone to approach you and you know, bring warmth to a new face.
Yeah.
And then once you've set yourself up and you start finding your own footing with your art style and so on, then you shape it in whatever way you want.
Yeah.
I started with that. I started with the grids and the cute little booths that looks like it's a little ramen hut, because that's what they looked like to me, like little ramen shops. But now I have nothing like that.
No.
But you'd have to start somewhere, right? And that is a very welcoming and a staple.
A stable starting point.
Yeah.
Very stable starting point.
Yeah.
But do you think if everyone's using that same or a very similar starting point, there is a lot of anime fandom merch out there and stuff, a lot of people lean to that as well because it does do well.
Yep.
Do you think that helps or actually could potentially hurt the diversity of what we see in Artist Alley?
No trend hurts you as long as you don't let that trend stifle you from growing or let the trend define you. So even when you're creating your Artist Alley setup, as long as that setup works for what you're creating and keeps growing with you, then yes. If you decide to say, oh no, I can't do t-shirts because I can't fit them on my grid, then you're letting the trend limit you and set a boundary for you and your creativity, and you never want that.
Yeah.
You need to always keep evolving. The grid is not the one exhibiting. You are, right?
Yes.
So as long as they don't let that trend stop them from really expanding and going as far as they want, and that's fine. But beyond that, there's nothing wrong with following what others have successfully used as a starting point to then help you grow and propel yourself into whatever direction you need to with your work.
Yeah, I think that's fair. The thing I've noticed a lot is because I've had this conversation with artists in Artist Alley and stuff, and just the idea of like one trend taking over and like everyone doing very similar stuff. Me as the big Sonic fanboy, people could say, oh, well, how would you feel if everyone did Sonic the Hedgehog stuff? Everything would just be Sonic. And I think something I'm learning about anime as well is like, anime is a genre. It's not a specific thing. Anime can look so different and be so different. Whereas all the comparisons I see made, it's like an IP, like one thing, where actually there is so much potential.
Oh, it's endless. It's endless. It's also very fascinating to me that there's some very popular anime out there, which you don't really see anything about. And correct me if I'm wrong, I don't really see anything about ReZero, for example. It's kind of lost in Artist Alley. You don't really see anything about Reincarnated as a Slime is a massive title. You don't see a lot of art of that. You know, it's the more you draw something that you love, regardless of if it's a genre of anime or not, someone is going to be attuned to it.
Yeah.
Right? And as long as you don't do the same thing as what other people are doing and create your own thing. For example, I've done a ton of Sonic things now.
Yes.
But I've also done them in my way.
Yeah.
In my interpretation.
Yes.
And not just followed someone else's mold. That's why my Sonic stuff sells.
Yes. I think that's the key thing is taking stuff as inspiration and then bringing your own flair to it.
Yeah.
And something actually I've seen quite a bit of here at AnimeCon. And this is the first very anime-targeted convention I've attended with the podcast. Obviously, you've done a variety of different conventions at this point. Do you believe that anime conventions potentially foster a more supportive culture for artists compared to others, or do you think that there's a general level?
Actually, you know what? I strongly believe so, yes. And it's not just AnimeCon. I will extend the olive branch to our friends at Araku Events, which are also supportive of the artist community. And it is very anime-centric. I think the fact that it is an anime-related convention, obviously they're going to have the artist in mind as a forefront, because that's what anime is, right?
Yeah.
Whereas conventions such as MegaCon, which I still love, or MCM, they're more holistic Comic-Con experiences. So we are there, yes, we are part of it, but we're part of a much bigger puzzle of different variety of media. Where it's something at AnimeCon, it is more about the, showcasing the different art styles, because that is what we're here, connected by this one massive international art form that everyone absolutely loves.
Yes. And what better place to celebrate that than here at AnimeCon UK?
It's very nice to be filming and talking about this at this event on its third year, I believe.
We have wanted to talk about anime and just anime's influence on art.
Yeah.
And I feel very happy that this is the perfect place to do it. It's all come together so nicely.
It is, yeah.
Yes.
Do you have any final notes?
Final notes? Interesting.
Anything you want to ask that was not pre-written?
No, it's not.
Mind you, the answers were not pre-written.
I think my general observation is, again, I've learned more and more just how varied anime can be.
Yeah.
And this event has been really encouraging to me to actually see that variety actually in the stuff that's being sold and the stuff people are creating. And I just really want people to continue to encourage that. Yeah, that's the key thing for me, I think. And it's been interesting to see, because I'm starting to have my own favorite animes now, and the ones that I enjoy. And it's been nice to actually see different people slant on what that is. And I'm like, okay, so it has been really good.
I think my final note would be, even though there are so many good mainstream titles right now, if you really want to educate yourself about anime, you really need to look back and watch old titles that essentially brought the medium to what it is today, right? If we didn't have those titles, anime wouldn't have survived.
Yeah.
So give them the due respect and do not watch out for remakes. Down to remake. No remake is ever as good as the original, ever. Except for Fullmetal Alchemist.
We're now going to do a bit, just in case there's anything we can add into the edit of this podcast, where we're going to see anyone in the masses of people watching right now.
Just thank you to the 4 people here. We appreciate that. We stepped it up from yesterday. Shout out to Gina, though, for being there for both episodes.
Yes. Is there any questions about anime or anime in terms of art
scene?
The art scene. Do you think they need to chat about that?
You said Full Metal Alchemist. Full Metal Alchemist or Brotherhood? Which one?
I was hoping no one would ask this.
I'm all ears.
Okay, so I will admit that I followed the first Full Metal Alchemist passionately because it was at the cusp of when that was literally coming out around the time I decided that I wanted to do art full time. I have my preference because of I grew up with that, the nostalgia, right? I prefer the first one, but I appreciate that the second one is better made. It has a much more well-rounded story. However, because I come from an older generation of anime watchers, where the fillers were the thing that helped to appreciate the characters more, I miss the filler episodes in it. Story arcs that took, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 episodes were done in 2. And it helps you appreciate those characters a lot less. You don't love them as much when they eventually get killed. And also had better soundtrack, just saying.
We'll debate that another day.
I'm glad you don't have any tomatoes to try and make.
I've got other fruits instead.
Oh no! In the meantime, our viewership now just declined. No, they both have merit.
Yes.
See, now if you ask me if I like the old Sailor Moon or new Sailor Moon, right?
Yeah.
Crystal sucks. Crystal is bad. Bad.
I wish I could agree with you, but I've never watched any Sailor Moon.
Bad.
Taking notes.
Yes. Classic Sailor Moon was like hype. Yes, it brought so many people. The weight that Sailor Moon and Dragon Ball have on their shoulders for bringing generations of anime people into like full-blown watching anime, and then Naruto after. But Dragon Ball OG. Crazy.
Any other questions?
Yes?
Yes.
Do you ever experience all the art styles? So, like Bakamontagari, where they burn through art directors, like we burn through emails, or even Knights of Sidonia, where the storyline is probably not as great, but the actual artwork really makes the story. Did you experience those?
Yes, I think they're just like you're saying. What has always gripped me is either the very beautiful visual appeal or the good writing. The balance needs to be genuinely either mind-blowing on one end or, you know, but I struggle if something doesn't catch me, then I really struggle following through. As an example, No Game, No Life, right? I cannot visually watch it. I don't know why. I find the appeal in it. I like the story. I've read through, but the visual appeal of the anime with the purple outlines, it gives me a migraine. So I can appreciate it for what it is, but I couldn't watch it start to finish. There is a merit in having good art, but subpar story. Recent example is Kamui, Ninja Kamui. right? That started with the first 3 episodes were probably the coolest thing that Adult Swim produced in terms of collaboration with an anime studio. On episode 4, it goes from anime to full CGI. Everyone complained, but because the art style is, the actual story was so good, it didn't matter to me, because at that point I was already gripped. So yes, I think if there's a good story but less art, or good art but less story, I think it's still worth pushing into, you know, it's still worth staying with. Anything else? Any final thoughts?
I think we've covered.
We're very thankful
So
that
much.
people actually stayed.
Yes.
Thank you.
Oh, we have another question.
What's the worst remake you've seen?
Oh.
The worst remake I've seen. Okay, so I've already answered this. I'll answer it again. I'll give in-depth reasoning why. So there's a lot of merit in remakes. Ranma Half has done an excellent remake. Loom has done an excellent remake. Inuyasha needs to be next, but money went into them. Whoever decided that they're going to be remade believed in the story. They believed in the fandom that was past. Like Kenshin. Kenshin is now again one of the top followed series as a remake. When Sailor Moon was announced to be a remake for I don't know what anniversary, 25th or 30th anniversary. The love for it, there are so many people who have spent tens of thousands. They could buy a house from Sailor Moon merch, right? So it was very much hyped. Dragon Ball has gotten so much love over the years and continuation and so on. Sailor Moon was finally getting something. But the budget for it was so poor. And if you see the first season of Crystal and how that was drawn, it's so tragic. It's literally sad to look at. To see like a face that's this big, but her cranium is this big. Like, it was literally, I don't know who drew this. Bunch of randos across the street were like, do you want to draw a thing? Yeah, come up. I'll show you how. Yeah, that's how they did it. But no, I think they missed a massive opportunity. Again, with what I said with Brotherhood, Sailor Moon is a 200 episode series that has been condensed down to 2 movies and 24 episodes. There is no heart in it. Absolutely not. Like rush, episode. The story that was like 100 episodes long of friendship and togetherness is now a 12 episode quick sprint, right? There is absolutely no soul into it. Just watch the classic. Don't waste your time on Crystal. I'll watch it with you. I'll watch 200 episodes any day.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, and also I can't count how many titles of anime I've watched. I literally could not count. We, in Italy, when I was growing up and I used to watch anime growing up as a kid, there would be 3 episodes aired before school. Then there would be 2 episodes aired after school before you have lunch. Again, 4 different episodes. These are all different series, right? 4 different series after, like, between dinner time. And then you'd get the adult series like Fist of the North Star airing after dinner. So I was like, anime. And this was before even realizing, oh, I like this, right? And then it was just, okay, we're watching everything now. So yeah, hundreds, thousands of series. But yeah, inspiration, all inspiration.
All inspiration. Makes me realize how much catching up I need to do.
Honestly, I don't think you could.
I think it's physically possible.
It's physically
But
possible.
I think I should try.
Just make your own path now, young
Yes.
Padawan. Star Wars reference. Ban him, get him out.
Not in our anime. Not in the anime episode. Amazing. So that's everything we've got to talk about today. We have discussed so much about anime and Artist Alley, and once again, we're very grateful to AnimeCon UK for hosting us and for everyone and who has tuned in and watching here today. If you're watching at home and want to find out more about how you can follow us on socials and support us on the Patreon, keep listening. But that is it from us. So until next time, bye. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Oh, this is lovely.
Firstly, a huge thank you to our amazing conventioneers, Beck and Kit, who have joined our Patreon. Support the show and join the community yourself at www.patreon.com/thecongcreatives. Find out more from our show sponsors and where to follow us on social media at www.thecongcreatives.com. The podcast is hosted and produced by Gilles Bone and Jay Eggman.